play it in a minute. You're going to see him
Let's get
hand
into
her
the
phone
little
to
part
her
of the
and her put her
prosecution
code into the
statement.
phone to
I'm
open
having a
it
hard time saying
so
it,
they could utilize it
so
to
let me see, can I
convey
get
what they were
something?
watching and seeing. And again, they're out in the parking lot.
This is crazy.
She was there with them in the field, shoulder to shoulder, in the thicket,
Now you're saying in the field.
on the ground, in the action. So they're wearing these masks, and it's not just like some costume mask. Obviously, a COVID mask is not going to necessarily draw that much attention, but it is going to hide their identities. Mr. Chance has a hoodie up on his head, along with the COVID mask. They are clearly trying to disguise themselves. But again, she didn't stay in the car, she got out. And there was a reason for that. Because instead of allowing Mr. Chance to walk around in this dark parking lot with a
I'm
hood
just
on
trying to get this
and
shit
a
off
mask
the
on,
damn.
by himself,
Just trying to get this shit off the phone.
walking.
Again, this is opening statement, members of the jury, just a chance for the lawyers to tell you what evidence they believe will be admitted in this case. Again, it is not the actual evidence, right?
But instead of allowing him to walk around in that parking lot by himself, a single man with a disguise on, she went with him. Because now they would be a couple. They would fit in. They would be non-threatening. So she acted not only helping in conducting the reconnaissance, she acted as camouflage. She acted as a disguise in and of herself. Now they're a couple. Now it's not just a single person who may be seen as threatening or may draw attention. This is just a couple walking around in the parking lot in a club where a lot of people are milling about in groups. In groups. She provided that by being there in the field with them. She provided that cover and that camouflage. And she provided, obviously, a second set of eyes to watch. Both of them surveilling and watching Mr. Jones and his entourage. And then, as I just mentioned a minute ago, she provided the comms, the communication, her phone. Now, you're going to see in the evidence, Mr. Chance's phone is tracking all the way to Tampa from Jacksonville. And it's tracking at that Airbnb. It's hitting off a nearby tower, but it's her phone they're utilizing, you will find in the evidence. Now, you're going to find in this evidence that they were not utilizing the calling function of that iPhone or even its Apple text message app, the two ways that most people communicate. They're using some kind of a special application to be able to communicate that's undetected. But at some point, they have to break radio silence because the person they're communicating with, Sean Gathright, is not answering. He's not picking up his phone, so they actually send a text through the Apple text message app.
What the shit called?
Pick up your phone.
WhatsApp?
And that's right around this time, just a few minutes later.
WhatsApp? That's what they were using.
See the defendant opening the phone for Mr. Chance, and you can see their COVID masks. One is wearing the blue COVID mask that was so prevalent in 2020, 2021, and she's wearing a black one.
I ain't gonna lie now. Her little look at him is like a look of
This is Mr. Jones and his
verification
friends arriving
to me,
at
like,
that club.
am I doing the right thing? Or
You
like
can see
this,
the time there.
like, I don't know. To me, I
2:22
just
in the
feel
morning.
like
That, again, is
she ain't
several
convinced
minutes
me that
off,
she
it's
all
about
the way
that time.
in yet.
2:21.
She
There
looked
they are,
terrified.
and you see Mr. Chance on the phone
he must
in
have
the
called her
parking
talking to
lot.
him or something.
At the the same place. Now later, after Mr. Jones has gone into the club and been in there,
That's
and
so
kind of
crazy.
staying in there with his friends, he's now leaving. You can see Mr. Edwards' head up there. It's 2:46 about that time.
Point with this.
2:46:59, almost 2:47. And what happens at 2:47? This car up here in the upper right, that's on that road, which is Nebraska, is pulling in to the north end of the parking lot of Teasers. This was an extremely well-orchestrated conspiracy, coordinated.
Well,
He's walking out of the club on the other side of the club, and out of the blue, the assault team vehicle is pulling into the club. That is tight surveillance and intel. Now, in this photograph, it's 2:48. This is Mr. Jones' Charger. You can see the lights starting to light up because they're already inside the car. They're getting ready to leave. That's the Impala that has come in on the north side, gone down the west side, and is now passing in the front. Out of necessity, passing in the front. So this is just an aerial view of Teasers. You can see Nebraska over here to the right. You can see this little road here, South Castle. The defendant and her boyfriend come and they park here in the north end. They get out, they walk around, they come around this way, they stand here. The entrance is over here. So they're way down here. You kind of saw that in that photograph. Which should put them down there to the west. They conduct surveillance, they walk back up here, they get back into the car, and then they drive out on the East Castle. The assault team comes in the red arrows, comes in on the north end, we just watched it, they come down this way, and they go down Castle. And as you can see, before I move on, a lot of folks standing around out there. A lot of people.
I gotta get this view, y'all.
Potential witnesses. Now, from there, when Mr. Jones leaves with his friends in the three cars, they travel to another club, an after party. This is Truth 18 on Bush.
I feel like it's creaky.
The Dodge Charger, the Hyundai, and you'll see the Altima come up. Down here to the lower left, you can see some of the party. This Bentley, Miss Albritton, Tafa McRae in the light blue. And up on the top there where you just saw the flashing lights, it's Armani Turner and Miss Randolph getting out of the Hyundai. There's Mr. Jones in the lower right with the red hat, very recognizable. So they go up to the second floor of this strip mall where this club is. That's Gino Norris in front walking up, his friend. And again, this is for an after party. You'll see Mr. Jones will start live streaming with his phone.
Come on, man. That shit won't supposed to be like that.
Again, advertising his location.
It's crazy.
This is from another location. And you can see the Chevy Cruze up in the top part of the screen. And now, in the top of the screen, the hooded individual, the defendant, and Mr. Chance can
The Blocks uses a unique blend of stories, catchy songs, and lovable characters.
They don't stand out. With her phone to his ear. Now they walk back again past the club.
What kind of walk they got them do?
Mr. Jones and his friends leaving.
Damn. How long they been in there? Well, I'm just not paying attention to the time stamps.
The Impala on the top of the screen. That's across the street. You'll find in the evidence that the victim and his entourage go down the parking lot, they do a U-turn, they come back out, they end up heading east and then doing a U-turn and going back west.
Mm.
The Impala just crossed the street, now it's back up at that stop sign in the upper right-hand corner. And you'll see it'll just sit there for a while.
Mm. What, they wait on the okay?
Mr. Jones and his friends coming down the stairs.
Nah, boo, cause you cute or whatever.
A lot of people milling about, a lot of cars. The evidence will show. And finally they leave or start to leave.
Girl, what you just sit right there? You see everything when you ain't got no business looking that way. I wasn't even supposed to be looking at it. But what my girl sit right there?
And they come back.
And I know this ain't nobody to do with this case, but I'm just saying, wait, where did you sit there, girl?
Charger followed by the Hyundai. Followed by the Altima.
Charger followed by a Hyundai, followed by the Altima.
On the top of the screen, Mr. Jones' Charger is going to do a U-turn and go back westbound, followed by the Hyundai and the Altima.
Okay.
There goes the Cruise, heading the same direction. Now, this is the intersection of McKinley.
So they literally have been following this man all
This is the
night
intersection of
long.
McKinley
That is
and
crazy.
Fowler.
At this point, just see him when you see him running to him when you running to him. Like, you got a better chance. You got a better chance of beating it. Altercation.
Directly
life
across the
threatening,
street is
self-defense.
USF. There's an Embassy
You
Suites
don't
there.
sit here and follow this man from the
That is
whole
Mr.
day.
Jones'
That's
car doing a
ridiculous.
U-turn
It's crazy.
and going back on McKinley, and you'll see it turn into the hotel complex, followed by the Hyundai and the Altima. And as you can see, there is no car visible except for those oncoming lights now coming up the northbound side. That is the Chevy Cruise. It goes eastbound. No other car on McKinley can be seen. It's not even in sight. The Chevy Cruise ends up going eastbound, then comes back westbound, turns northbound. There it is, into that parking lot. And now several minutes later comes the Impala, which, this is the assault team. Does a U-turn,
He killed when he said that, the assault team.
goes southbound on McKinley, following the path of Mr. Jones and his entourage, and pulls directly into that hotel. That car wasn't anywhere to be seen when Mr. Jones and his entourage were going in there. But the Chevy Cruise was there with this defendant and Mr. Chance providing critical intelligence to them with this defendant's phone. Once it pulls in, you'll start seeing cameras from different locations within the complex mounted on the home to suites surveillance system that'll pick up the Impala's path as it travels. So the Chevy Cruise, at one point after the Impala goes in, blows through a red light on Fowler to get over there and turn in to the hotel. By that point, the Impala is all the way around on the west side, you will find in the evidence of the hotel, and setting up for the attack. But now the Cruise has to come, the evidence will show, to drive by and confirm where's Mr. Jones. The red marker is the Impala and its path. It comes in, it goes northbound, it goes westbound, it goes southbound around the Holiday Inn, down across the south end side of the Holiday Inn, back to the east, and then it parks. First it goes down, you can see that red arrow next to the home to suites on the west side. It kind of pulls down there and has to back up and pulls in. When the blue markers is the Chevy Cruise, when that pulls in and pulls around and does the 3-point turn, you're going to see in the video evidence It's right here. They pass within feet of each other at the same time. And of course, the Impala never goes around or reveals itself past that point, keeping out of sight of Mr. Jones and his entourage. This is a camera mounted on the east side of the home to suites, pointing to the southeast.
Well, at
and it
least
is
they
picking
got
up the
cameras
Impala
on their
now pulling
hotel,
into the
'cause
complex.
I know
and
this in
going
Tampa,
northbound
but
on the east side
we
of
was
the
in
hotel.
Jacksonville. Our car got broke into.
This is going
This
to go
dang
to a
on
camera
hotel that
facing
have no
north,
cameras on the
northeast,
side where we parked
showing
it.
it passing, still going northbound.
What a blessing for cameras.
And then it turns back to the west. This is a camera that's mounted on the north side of the home to suites that picks up the Impala as it passes and turns towards the west. And now the Impala is on the west side of the hotel. There's this pool and this patio area here that's on the west side of the hotel. Going around this way would be the portico. This is the west side of the hotel. The charging stations are right here. And you can see the Impala comes and stops. It does not go around that southern end of the home to suites. It's avoiding the southern end at this point. And here comes the Chevy Cruze passing directly past in the car that's not known by anyone, the victim. Goes to the north where the Impala is. Goes right past the Impala. Does a 3-point U-turn and comes back. This is another camera picking up the Impala and the Cruze. That's on the Tesla, part of its security system.
Yeah, this the camera that David Tesla ain't have activated, ain't? That would have been released a little footage or something.
Why doesn't Window World offer buy two,
One
get
more
two
commercial
free,
I know
or
some.
buy today, get 25%?
Sick of it.
You may, I don't know if you saw that or not. The Cruze is turning around, but the Impala is pulling into a spot over here at the same time as it passes back by.
Objection, Your Honor. This is cumulative.
Overruled. This is opening statement. Go ahead.
So now the Cruze is coming back, doing one last pass, and now we're within seconds of the attack, the murder itself. You can see individuals at the top of the screen moving. You're going to see them run by the front of the Tesla, getting into position. There's the third shooter, Davion Murphy. And now they come around the pistol shooter, Rashad Murphy, and the shooter on the top of the screen right there is Sean Gathright. You see the collision between the Altima and the Hyundai as they're trying to get out of there.
Get away from there.
You
That's
see
crazy.
Mr. Murphy come out of hiding and Mr. Gathright opening fire. You'll see Mr. Gathright and Mr. Murphy running back to the north. And you saw this, there's the muzzle flashes of Mr. Davion Murphy's rifle. And you saw the Charger going to the north. That's the Charger picked up by the Tesla cameras heading north. There goes Mr. Rashad Murphy, there goes Gathright, and there's Davion Murphy. And you can kind of see the blocky image of the brass catcher on the side of that rifle. Another view from the Tesla of Davion Murphy running back to the Impala.
That's so crazy. That you would go out your way and travel.
This attack
Follow somebody.
was relentless, as you saw. They
Just
weren't
to
going
kill
to
them
stop. They
instead
were
of
going to
running
make sure
into them
that they
like a man on the
killed
street and handling your
Mr.
business.
Jones, that he was not going to live, that they were not going to go back to Jacksonville without him dying. And you saw that relentless attitude of these defendants as they were shooting. This is the Airbnb. That's a photograph of, well, actually, this is a video. So this is the night they get there. This is Saturday, the 22nd. The defendant entering. There's no volume on this, but when she walks in, someone says, "My bad." Mr. Chance having maybe a celebratory drink. This is the next day around 2:30, 3. You can see he has to keep knocking. The person getting in that silver car is an Uber driver who they have called. That is how they returned to Jacksonville. The defendant, Mr. Chance, and Mr. Murphy this time returned to Jacksonville. Now they're unloading, bringing out all of their kit and their gear, their weapons. There's Mr. Davion Murphy. Now they're getting sloppy because it's the next day and all of the conspirators are visible. There's Mr. Murphy trying to go back in. Mr. Gathright walking out with gear. They don't come they don't leave the way they came. They flee from this murder separately and in a different
That is so
format.
stupid. Everybody
That's
showing their
Mr.
face
Gathright.
like they wouldn't think these Airbnbs got cameras.
He leaves
Y'all all
independent
showing
of the
y'all
others
face?
in the Impala.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is validating that.
Crazy. Sloppy. Wanted to get caught.
Telling the jury
You just as dumb, girl.
Overrule the objection.
You can see Mr. Gathright
All
goes
the writing in the
over
world
to the
ain't gonna
side
save
to the back.
This is sad.
And that's how they got in the day before. The evidence will show Mr. Gathright, Sean Gathright, whose house they all started at with the Impala. He leaves, but he doesn't go back to Jacksonville. Mr. Gathright drives across I-4 to Polk County, to Auburndale, to his grandmother's house, where he switches cars. He leaves his Impala at his grandmother's house, and he takes her Toyota 4Runner. And he drives out to Orlando, where he goes out that night to a club, and he posts a photograph of
My
him
boy
drinking
celebrate.
Don Julio tequila, which is a diss to Charles Jones. Charles Jones, Julio Foolio, was known in all of his social media to drink Don Julio. That's where the name came from. He was notorious for that. This Mr. Gathright drives over, switches cars, goes to Orlando, then he ends up in Jacksonville. That's Mr. Gathright being picked up on a flock license plate reader system. This is him coming. This is on June 22nd. You can see 739. He's in Hillsborough County. So 623, he's eastbound on I-4 at 413, eastbound on I-4. This is the Sunday after the shooting. 625, southbound Florida 559, and Fred Jones Parkway in Polk County. This is Mr. Gathright arriving at his grandmother's house in Opal Avenue in Auburndale. You're going to see him walk in.
Oh,
See
they
the
can't
Chevy
track you.
Impala, the assault car sitting in the driveway.
Yeah, so-
Law enforcement go there later. They get this video of Mr. Gathright switching cars. You're going to see him wiping down the Impala before he leaves.
They think they so smart. Criminals think they be so smart. Like he trying to wipe down everything. But you should have been doing that on the way. So what way no camera fit. He was already busted him. You drove your own car to a
And
crime.
there he is leaving in the 4Runner,
The fuck?
saying goodbye to his grandmother.
Then you leave your car at your grandma's house. Take her car. You ain't had no business to put your grandma in this. Come on, man.
That 626 date in the upper right-hand corner is wrong. 623. the defendant and her boyfriend, Mr. Chance, and Mr. Rashad Murphy, who had come there in the Chevy Cruze with his cousin, Davion Murphy. Now Rashad Murphy traveled with them in that Uber. There's the Uber receipt, $187, 3 hours, 25 minutes, 208 miles. From Gazebo Pond to Chipperfield Lane in Jacksonville. You see the route on the left, they go up 75 and they cut through I-10, heading up to Jacksonville. The Uber driver in this case will testify to you that he picked up 3 people at an Airbnb in Tampa and dropped them off at Sean Gaithwright's house in Jacksonville. That this defendant and Mr. Chance sat in the back seat, and the whole way they're on their phones, and they're not wearing a mask. This is them arriving at Sean Gaithwright's house. He's in Orlando or in Auburndale at his grandmother's house. Again, Miss Andrews is not wearing a mask. She's unloading along with Mr. Chance, and you're going to see Rashad Murphy here with some kind of a hat on, like a beret, with the same bags that were loaded up into the Impala. He's handing something now to the defendant.
My girl fried.
Down on the right through
My
that
girl is fried.
crepe myrtle plant, you can see Chance in the driver's seat of the car. Mr. Murphy wearing the same jeans that he was wearing when he got arrested 2 days later in Gwinnett County, Georgia, northeast of Atlanta, driving the Chevy Cruze. He was with his girlfriend, Charmaine Steiger. They had picked up a hotel that morning, early in the morning. Law enforcement pick up the tag on flock cameras in Norcross, Georgia, and Gwinnett County. In Gwinnett County PD, you will hear from 2 officers from that agency who will tell you, the first officer being the one who arrests Mr. Murphy, that he came into contact in the hotel parking lot, pulls in behind the car, the Chevy Cruze. Mr. Murphy pops out of the driver's seat. He's yelling at him at gunpoint, "Show me your hands, show me your hands." Mr. Murphy doesn't hesitate. He takes off running. The officer chases him and tases him and knocks him down, where other officers stick guns to his head, and then they cuff him, wearing the same torn up jeans or type of jeans that he's wearing in the
It was
photograph
at that very
of
moment
Jacksonville 2 days earlier.
that he knew his life was over.
That's a photograph of Mr. Rashad Murphy in a Walmart on June 21st that you will see in the evidence of Jacksonville, where he bought a burner phone, and he's wearing the same clothes or clothes that are consistent in appearance to the Glock shooter, the person with the Glock switch.
Y'all ain't
shooter.
bring no
You can
clothes.
see he's
Y'all
carrying
ain't trying to
it.
burn no clothes.
You can see the
Y'all playing this
similarities.
in like 5
You can
seconds.
see the similarities in the shooter.
0.5 seconds. They playing
You
this
can
out.
see
This
he's
is
carrying it in
ridiculous.
his left hand, which is confirmed through investigation. He is left-handed. The defendant's phone, 904-405-6748. This is a tower hit at 4:40 at the murder scene. She identifies herself as being in that Chevy Cruze, but you don't even need her own words. You can see it in this evidence. She's in that Chevy Cruze, providing the critical last minute, last second intelligence to the shooters, to the assault team, as they drive out of the parking lot. Those shooters, when they came around the corner, and the evidence will show, directed their fire direct.
I'm stuck between wanting to do something and not wanting to do anything at all. I'm just trying to.
A couple weeks later, this would be what, 13 days later. This is the defendant, and she's messaging from that Ooh That's Red Instagram account with Tarnisha. You keep telling me to wait a week. That's why I've been sitting. She's talking about Mr. Chance, and she's sitting at his house. The person she's messaging, just have them bring you tomorrow. Okay, why wait a week? Down at the bottom, to make sure no police sitting around before I go there. Did you get your phone? No, the lady said, the detective said we have to wait. But if until his charge dropped, but that's weird, it was only resisting arrest. So Mr. Chance had been arrested for resisting arrest, and they had obtained during a search warrant of that house, they had obtained the defendant's phone, and this is about her getting her phone back. Ms. Tarnacia responds, oh, July 6th, well, let them keep that phone. And ooh, that's red, this defendant texts back or messages back, yes, that's what I said, laughing my ass off, LMAO. It was a whole different one. Oh, well. Okay, now this is later, July 9th. Police here looking for you. The defendant messages back. Where are they at now? Waiting. Outside. Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. She texts back, WYM. I don't see them no more. And then the defendant, not text, messages back. They somewhere waiting, probably.
So the girl knew she was gonna go. Because I've been listening. I'm trying
So
to
what
get
is that
calm.
all about? Why is she saying
I
it's a
commend her
whole
for taking
different one?
accountability.
She's saying that because 2.5 days, 2.5 days after this murder, after getting back to Jacksonville, you're going to find from the evidence that this defendant goes and gets a whole new phone. And she gets rid of the phone that she's had for years.
You on the sidebar,
And just like that, the sidebar is going on. My girl knew what she was doing. Girl, I had a little empathy for you. I thought the man would beat your head in, but you probably was. But you look like you willingly did it. All this LOL. What's the LOL about somebody getting killed? Baby, you are crazy. And especially for a man. Anywho. Sidebar. I wonder if I got time to order me something to eat. Then this sidebar. That should be about to go on lunch in a minute. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think she's gonna be found guilty? How many years do y'all think she's gonna get? Let me know. Here we go. Y'all, this is not my TV. Cut her off. It's their TV. And I'm going to stop this recording, order me something to eat, and I'll be back when they be back. Y'all, we back. I don't know how the camera setup is, but we back. Here we go. I'm trying to order me some food in the midst of it all.
I looked it up.
Gave my girl some clothes. It look like they gave her the biggest jacket they can give her.
Okay, thank you. Everyone have a seat. And Mr. Harmon, you may continue.
Please support. So the defendant disposes of her phone that she has had for years. The same phone that she and Isaiah Chance were utilizing to convey intelligence and information on the whereabouts of Charles Jones to the assault team. A phone that to this day has never been found.
Another one for the third time. I'm sick of this.
You will hear in this evidence that this defendant did everything that she could in the days after this murder to protect herself and to defend and protect the conspiracy that she was part of. On July 9th of 24, two detectives, homicide detectives, Aaron Campbell and Juan Ramos, the lead detective in this case from the Tampa Police Department's homicide unit, travel to Jacksonville and they meet with this defendant at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. You'll see a video recording of their interview of her. The first thing they do is read her rights and they ensure that she understands her rights, and she says she does. And then they start interviewing her, and she immediately starts lying to the police. Lying to them.
Damn, he presenting the whole case right now, ain't
Just, you need to phrase it that you believe the evidence will show. Okay? Overall.
And the facts in this case and the evidence, that video will demonstrate to you.
Sure. We'll move, strike the word lying.
Okay.
Rephrase, Mr. Harmon.
Yes, Your Honor. The evidence will show that she makes statements to the police that are false. Multiple statements. The evidence will show she lies to them over and over and over in this interview. She lies about her knowledge of these gangs. She lies about her knowledge of who Julio Foolio is. And you're going to see in the evidence that not only does she know who he is, she's known who he is for years. She has animosity towards him. You'll see that in the evidence. But she lies about simple facts that are easily rebutted. Namely, she lies about knowing this guy, Sean Gathright, the individual whose house she left from to come to Tampa, the individual who was driving the Chevy Impala that she was sitting in for almost 3.5 hours driving to Tampa on the 22nd. The individual who was best friends with her boyfriend, Isaiah Chance. She's shown that photograph. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
If you're going to talk, at least make it believable.
And you will see in the evidence
can't make it
that
believable.
these lies are nonchalant lies. Her demeanor with these homicide detectives. They show her video. They show her all this video. And in the middle of this litany of lies that's coming out of her mouth, there's a couple little kernels of truth. Namely, she identifies herself in the teasers video in the parking lot with Isaiah Chance wearing the mask. She identifies herself in the Truth 18 video. She identifies herself, like I said earlier, at the McDonald's in the Chevy Cruze. But she doesn't know who Davion Murphy is. They ask her, who is this guy? How did he end up driving this car that
husband, homeboys, I mean, the close ones I know, but you know, people do hang out with people that they went to school with, and I don't know everybody he went to school with, because I ain't going to school.
On the 26th of June, this is
it can't be people that your significant other know that you don't know.
They pull that 4Runner over, Sean Gathright driving, and they pull him over for a traffic infraction. They get him out of the car, and they end up searching that 4Runner. And inside of the 4Runner, they find several items.
Boy, if you're going to be driving hot like that, you better drive right. Better drive about 3 miles under the speed limit. Check all your lights. Make sure you're sitting the lights working.
Magazine holders.
Everything.
ammunition, and a box full of empty .223 and 5.56 shell casings. Now, you're going to hear in the evidence, if you're not already aware of this, that a 5.56 rifle, an AR rifle, can shoot .223 ammunition. They're almost interchangeable. And there's multiple empty casings in this box. They also find these two boxes, each containing 50 rounds of 9mm ammunition. Max Tech. On the top of the cartridge casings, on the head stamp, where the primer is MXT for Max Tech. That is the exact same ammunition as the 9mm shell casings found in the crime scene. All of those shell casings found, and there was 31 of them found outside of the home to suites. They're all Max Tech, all the same ammunition, the same as these is ammunition found in Mr. Gathwright's vehicle. And I'll come back to that. These shell casings, 223 5.56, those shell casings are later provided to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which is a statewide agency here in the state of Florida that maintains crime laboratories throughout the state. We have one right here, a regional laboratory here in Tampa, and there's one in Jacksonville, and they're both involved in this case. And they are submitted to the firearms section, to firearms analysts, who analyze those shell casings, comparing them to the shell casings from the October 7th attack on Charles Jones, where he was shot in the leg. And they are fired from the same weapon. The analyst will tell you they were fired from the same weapon. She will tell you that was shell casing. She examines them microscopically and compares them and looks at markings that are left on the shell casings. Markings that are left by the breech face of the gun, by the extractor ejectors inside the firearms, and by primer shear, as it's called, when the primer goes off. And by primer,
these motherfuckers dumber than a doorknob. That's it, that's all.
talking about this little dot here in the middle of the gun, where the firing pin hits, causing a very teeny explosion that then ignites the gunpowder inside the shell casing, the gunpowder that sits behind the bullet and pushes it out. She examines all of those areas, and she came to the conclusion those were fired from the same gun that was used to attack Charles Jones on October 7th in Jacksonville. Sean Gathwright's house. There's the forerunner. A search warrant is executed on that house.
Man, these kids look like they don't
Days
even
after
gotta
this
do no
murder,
stuff like
after
this.
this murder.
Look, they
And one of
living
the
in
things
nice
they find
houses.
in the sink and water is all this torn up packaging. And when they start looking at the packaging, it's all firearm related. That is a 6 Hour Romeo 05 package. These are Magpul, which is a firearms manufacturer of components for AR-15 rifles, also manufacturer of magazines. They find basically an arsenal within this house. And what they determined from their search is that Sean Gathwright, was the weapons man on this team. He is the man that provided the AR-15 5.56 caliber rifle and the AR-15 300 blackout rifle in this attack. There are ammo boxes full of 300 blackout and 5.56 ammunition. In this safe, they find multiple weapons to include rifles and brass catchers. That is a brass catcher. It has a wire structure with netting or mesh, and it's designed to be fitted onto a rifle where when the shell is ejecting, like I said earlier, the casings remain in that mesh. And in this mesh, this detached brass catcher, they found 2 9mm shell casings that somehow worked their
Man, Landia, it's bloody terrific, to be honest, mate. I spent some time at the gym and Dr. Scott's deodorant.
Department of Law Enforcement to the firearms section for analysis. And they're analyzed, and they're compared to a shell casing from our crime scene, and the firearms examiner will tell you they were fired from the same weapon, a Glock firearm. That weapon was not recovered in this case. It was never found. They find this rifle, 300 Blackout, with the brass catcher attached. And when I say brass, brass, if you don't already know, you'll hear in the evidence, is a common term for shell casings. Once they're fired and they come out of the gun, it's called brass. It's just a common way of referring to those. And so the brass catcher is still attached to this firearm. You see it on the opposite side. This firearm is also located, this 5.56, and that brass catcher, as I said, had been detached already. There are multiple magazines located, and loaded magazines. Those are loaded with 300 Blackout 30 caliber rounds. Ammo boxes, this is back at the sheriff's office in Jacksonville, where this ammunition was inventoried after collection from Mr. Dathwright's house. And you can see all of the different type of ammunition he had. Now, July 27th, that individual sitting in the rain, kneeling there at gunpoint, is Isaiah Chance. Officers arrived at that residence, his residence, and placed him under arrest for the murder in this case. And there is the defendant being brought out of the same house where she was with Mr. Chance.
That's why he wanted her to stay there for a couple days.
Davion Murphy. This is after his arrest, months later.
He didn't want her to go somewhere
after
else.
being dragged out of an
And him to
apartment
get
in
caught
Jacksonville,
first.
Florida.
He wanted them to go together.
Now, why am I showing you this photograph of the defendant? This is the defendant. This is Miss Andrews. In the interview with the officers, in the very beginning of the interview, the officers are asking her about Isaiah Chance, her boyfriend. Isaiah Chance's street name, gang name, and social media name is Gutta, or Gutta Man, Gudda. And they're calling him Gutta. And this is the defendant's
My
response.
girl, where in the hell now?
Why are you calling him that? Why are you calling him Gutta? Like, you're idiots. Why are you calling him Gutta? Saying those words. Saying those words.
Okay, again, Mr. Harvin, just keep your statements. Pardon me?
That's a misstatement of the evidence.
Okay, well, when the jury, again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as I told you, what the attorneys say in the opening statement is not the evidence, and you're not to consider it as such. They're just telling you what they believe the evidence will be. You will be the ultimate decision makers regarding the evidence and any weight that it carries, okay? All right, go ahead.
The evidence will show that as those words are leaving her lips, tattooed on her body, underneath her clothes, is the name Gutta. Not only on her chest, but on her neck. Over the next week, the state of Florida, through the evidence that we will present to you, we will drag this conspiracy out of the darkness of the early morning hours. We will drag it into this courtroom for everyone to see, for everyone to know its evil and sinister and murderous nature. It will be exposed, and there will be no masks for this defendant to wear to hide from the state's evidence. The truth in this case, the truth will be clear, crystal clear, at the end of the state's case. There will be no Uber drivers waiting to whisk Miss Andrews away to avoid your verdict when you find her guilty. guilty of conspiring with these 4 men, and guilty as a principal to first-degree murder. And folks, the state's evidence will let every single one of you know deep in your hearts that that is the truth, that she conspired in this wicked and despicably evil, cold-blooded murder. That she followed this man, watched him, encouraged her co-defendants by her actions and words, tried to find logic, that she assisted in every way, and then after the fact did everything she could to defend this conspiracy. At the end of this case, there will be no doubts in your minds. There were discussions in the last couple of days about proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The state's case will prove to you clearly, beyond any doubt, that this defendant, Alicia Andrews, and she sits over here in this courtroom right now, is guilty of conspiring and committing first-degree murder.
All right, defense, do you wish to make an opening statement at this time? Pardon me? Okay.
Oh, he said sidebar. I thought he said, I don't, Your Honor. But I don't know where I heard that from. But he said sidebar. So, let's see what they sidebarring about. My boy thirsty after all that damn talking he done did. He damn near presented the case.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's 11:40, and the defense is to be given the same amount of time as the state in their opening statement if they wish. So because of that, as opposed to making you all wait to go eat lunch, we're going to go ahead and take an early lunch, and then when we come back at 12:40, this is going to be a 1-hour lunch recess, then we will pick up with the defendant's opening statement, okay? All right, so just remember my previous instructions, not to discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anybody. Don't read, watch, listen to any news or social media. Don't do any independent investigation on your own about the case, and we will reconvene at 12:40. All right? Thank you.
All right.
This is perfect because my lunch is on the way. So at 12:40, I'll be back for the defense opening statements. Bye.